Hey everybody, what's going on? Thank you all for checking out this video. This is the Lake Lanier tournament recap from Saturday, April the 9th. My brother Austin and his fishing partner Sam, they fished the Georgia Bass Nation tournament out of Laurel Park. They come in 12th place. They had 1590 with a 5-fish limit. They had a 3-pounder, 2 3.5s, and then 2 fish that were between 2.5 and 2 3/4. I mean, they had an awesome day. They caught a whole bunch of fish. If you haven't seen the tournament video, I posted it on Monday, so I'm going to put the link in the top of the description so you can watch that. But I'm just going to go over like kind of our game plan and what we were doing and the baits we were using and kind of the areas we focused on. So to get into it, like I said, they fished the Georgia Bass Nation High School tournament. We got up there Saturday morning, no practice. The wind was supposed to be blowing really hard on Friday, and we were thinking, it's been warm all week. The fish are going to be shallow. We didn't think that practice was kind of necessary, and then we didn't want to go up there and spend the time and the money and have to get a room just to get blown around by the wind on Friday. So we just rolled up Saturday and just kind of hoped for the best. We kind of had a different approach going in this tournament because they're not in the points for the Angler of the Year. They had a bad tournament, the very first one, but they had already qualified for state, and they had already paid the money, so we were just going to this tournament looking for a win or a top 10 finish, just trying to get some hardware, trying to get a plaque, or trying to get a trophy. So we kind of had a different approach. We knew that catching 12 pounds of spots wasn't going to do us any good, and if you haven't seen the tournament results, it was ridiculous. I've never seen weights that good in a high school tournament, and even for a regular tournament, those weights were ridiculous. It took 22 pounds to win all spots, and then 4 or 5 teams had 20, 21, 20, 19, mostly largemouth. They said they were catching them shallow off the bed, sight fishing, and then a lot of, some 17s, 16s, and then we were out there in 12th place. We had 1590, and then, it dropped down like 14.5 pounds was in the mid-20s, and then 12 pounds, you were in like almost 40th place, 35th, 40th place. I mean, the weights were ridiculous. Everybody was catching 2.5 pounders. I mean, the Lanier is on fire. The fish in there are super healthy, a lot of population. So, the weights were really good, and we knew that going into it, but we didn't realize how really good they were going to be. We knew it was going to take probably 20 to win, but I honestly thought if they caught 16, they probably could make at least a top 7. I mean, I thought the weights wouldn't have been that good and that stacked, but they were. So our game plan, like I said, going into it, we were going to go catch a limit quick and maybe get 12, 13 pounds we were hoping for, and then go fish shallow the rest of the day looking for a largemouth. We got there Saturday morning, put the boat in. Water temp said 57.5 on the depth finder. We had just had we were in the middle of a cold front the day before and then tournament day, but it had been warm all week leading up to the tournament. And I knew the fish were on bed. I had seen some pictures, some buddies we got up there, just seeing some stuff on social media. I knew that some of the fish were on the bed and they were catching some big largemouth sight fishing. But I just, in my head, I was the boat captain, so I've kind of got to make the decisions. I mean, we all three talk about it, but that's all I'm doing is just trying to think about what to do next. Where can we go to get another bite? So in my head, I'm like, okay, so the shallow bite probably won't be as good because of this cold front. Well, it turns out I was wrong. The shallow bite was still really strong, but in my head, I'm thinking, we got to go catch us a limit, maybe 12, 13 pounds, get some nice spots, and then we can go shallow the rest of the afternoon and maybe get a big 4 or 5 pound largemouth and put us up there where we need to be. So first thing, we run down the lake a little ways from Laurel Park, not very far, maybe not even 5 minutes, and we pulled up on a shoal that I had marked on the depth finder just from some history, and Austin pulled up first cast and caught one on this bait right here. This is what we throw instead of a Ned rig, just a 3/16 ounce shaky head and a 4-inch stick bait, just green pumpkin. This is actually a 5-inch bait. We had to cut some off of it. We ran out of 4-inch baits, so we were cutting a 5-inch down to a 4, but that's the bait that we were using on the shaky head, and probably caught, I don't know how many fish Austin caught on this. Sam caught a couple on a shaky head, and he was using a trick worm, but the main thing we were catching them on bottom was that little 4-inch stick bait on a shaky head, just using, a 7-1 medium spinning rod, 10-pound braid to an 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. And like I said, just green pumpkin was the color we used. I honestly don't think it mattered. The water was clean. You probably could have thrown pumpkin or watermelon or whatever, and they probably would have ate it. But we pulled up on the first spot, and Austin caught a nice one. I think it might have been when we weighed in. I'm not 100% sure. I know Sam had 3 over 3 that he caught on a crankbait that I'm going to show you in a second, but I think the other 2 we weighed in, Austin caught on the shaky head, and they come off this bait. But like I said, you know, they probably caught over 12 or 13 fish just on this bait and missed a couple more. But they were catching a lot of just 2-pounders, 2 1/4. We were having a hard time culling out one that was 2 1/2, and you know, just caught a bunch of fish on it. So if you want to get a bite at Lanier, you can just throw this little thing around and you'll definitely be able to get some bites. But we did that for the first, you know, this was like 7:30. They caught the first one, and then we moved to another spot, caught another one, and we just bounced around from points and shoals and high spots and hitting some rock and all that, just trying to, you know, get up there while they were biting and just catch some fish. And they had a limit by, I don't even know what time, before 9 o'clock, 8:30, they probably had a limit for about 10 pounds. And we kept bouncing around, and Sam threw a jerkbait a little bit and had a big striper on there. Kind of messed with a swim bait, kind of a spinner bait, and a chatterbait. But our main 2 baits were just a little shaky head and a little crankbait. So like I said, we had us a limit about 9 or 10 pounds. I think they were mainly on the shaky head, maybe 1 on a crankbait, but for the most part, early it was actually the shaky head that was getting it done. And then about 9:30 or so, maybe a little bit later, somewhere around 9:30, we pulled up on a saddle, or you know, a blow through. So basically you had the land, like the main land right here, and then you had an island, and there was just a hump, a high spot out in the middle, and the wind was blowing across it. And we pulled up in there. Austin did catch a nice one on the shaky head right there, and then it kind of started to get crazy. I had some camera issues with the GoPro, and we pulled up in there, and Sam caught one over a 3-pounder, one of our biggest fish. I think it was like 3 pound 10 ounces a spot. He caught on this little square bill right here, just a sexy shad, or kind of like a pro blue, just, you know, a blue back and then just a shad color white on the side, just throwing that. And he caught 3 3-pounders off that one little blow through. So Austin caught one, and then Sam catches one right after that, and we're culling, got our fish through back, and next thing I know, there was another one in the boat, another 3 1/2 pound spot on this bait, and the wind switched directions. So we had caught up, we had thrown back 2 2-pounders and now had a 2 over 3 1/2 in the boat. So we went around the other side of the blow through because the wind switched. We pulled up. Austin had like a 3-pounder come off on the same bait, but he was throwing like a light chartreuse color, not exactly, you know, just really yellow, but it was kind of like a faded yellow color. Same bait. He had I think he caught 1 or 2 on it, and then had about a 3-pounder, he said, come off. And we put it on the other side of the blow through, and I was on the phone with my buddy talking to him, and Sam catches another one, but this time it was a 3-pound largemouth, same bait in the same little area. Got him in the boat, and you know, we were excited. I mean, this all happened within 15 minutes. They had caught 3 fish over 3 pounds, and we kept fishing. Austin might have caught 1 or 2 more on the shaky head, but didn't help. And I think Sam might have caught a couple shorts around that blow through that they didn't help us. And you know, this, like I said, this is around 9:30, 10 o'clock, and our plan was by 10 o'clock to go up there and start fishing shallow. So we after catching those on that blow through, we ran down the lake a little ways to try to duplicate that. We come into a new area with some islands that were real close together, close to the bank. There were some other boats in there. It was, you know, we were kind of down the lake, so some more people were in that area. In the first area, there was hardly any boats around us. We had it to ourselves. So we got in there, fished around for 20 minutes and caught a couple fish. They didn't help. So we headed back up, hit that same blow through again that was the good one. And of course we pull up and there's a boat sitting on it. So we messed around and then come back in where the boat wasn't sitting, or the boat had left. We fished it and maybe caught a couple more, but none that helped. So it rolled around till about, we messed around, you know, it was about 12 o'clock. And I was like, all right, y'all have probably got about 14 pounds, 14 and a half pounds maybe. And let's just go look for a big one. So we went up above the Olympic Park up there, went up the river, trying to fish shallow for a largemouth bite. It just never happened. We did it for about an hour and a half. Didn't have a bite. The water was muddy and it was cold. You know, it was in the high 50s, and it just didn't feel right up there. So we headed back down the lake, and this is like, you know, 2 o'clock, and they had to be back at 4. So we just went down there for the rest of the day trying to just get another 3-pound bite, or a big 4-pound bite was what we were looking for, and it just never came. We might have caught one more fish that cold on a shaky head. Sam caught some more on the crankbait, and Austin maybe caught one on his crankbait, but we caught a couple more fish on the shaky head throughout the day, and they cold up, and we had more than we were thinking. Like I said, they had 1590s. Those fish were super healthy. But we just, looking back, we should have just not went up there for the largemouth. If anything, we should have went down the lake and looked for some beds. But, you know, we just, for some reason, in my head, I was thinking those fish was back off from the bank, but they didn't. But, you know, that's just, you know, kind of a lesson learned. But if I could do it over again, I'd have stayed in that area where we caught the 3 good fish and just hammered around in there all day. If we could have got one more 3-pound bite, they made a top 10, got them a plaque, you know, all that good stuff. But all in all, it was a really good tournament, especially with no practice. But like I said, these are our 2 main baits. We tried, like I said, we tried a swim bait and a chatterbait, spinner bait, stuff like that, jerk bait. But these are the baits that fish got weighed in on. So I'm about positive 2 of our keepers that we weighed in, or 2 of our fish in the limit we weighed in, come on this little 4-inch stick bait on a shaky head. And then our 3 biggest ones come on that little Pro Blue Sexy Shad color square bill, just fishing around that blow through and just fishing like the little corners of the island and the mainland. But like I said, all in all, it was a really good tournament. I'm really proud of Austin and Sam. They've got one more regular season tournament at Clarks Hill, and then they've got their state tournaments. Hopefully they can make it to nationals this summer. That'd be awesome. They've had a really good year. They've had a lot of good finishes, 2 wins, so I'm really proud of them, and I'm happy for them. So hopefully we can get over there to Clarks Hill and catch some fish. But thank y'all so much for watching this video. And like I said, if you missed the actual tournament video itself, click the link in the top of my description to watch these fish that I'm talking about. But other than that, that's all I've got. And like I said, thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.